Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. It's been an awesome, awesome time. Got some cool birthday gifts. My birthday's coming Monday. I got new lighting from Ronnie Jamble, which freaking awesome. He got me a new camera. So if you guys see me on that, thank Ronnie Jamble. Same one I had before, but a newer model. And once again, this is a series I do on Saturdays called Urban Legends. If you guys miss it, make sure you pop into YouTube, check it out. If you guys are on YouTube and you see this and you want to join the chat, give or take right around 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm never on time. I'm usually about 10 minutes late. Just varies. But yeah, join the chat on either Mixer.com, Twitch.com, HellKell. Find me. You can't miss it. Gonna be a good time. And I'm gonna start the stories off today with this lady. Nah, I'm gonna save her to the very end, but keep her in mind because she is a badass. All right, first story we got tonight, it has to kind of do with crabs, like somewhat. Maybe it's got to do with crabs. Hell, I don't know. We're gonna find out, because this one here is just freaking awesome. It's an article that was done in the Clarion Ledger by Brian Broom. And it's an account a guy had with crazy crab people. We're going to find out. Okay. This alien abduction, it happened about 45 years ago. It was a UFO encounter. It was Mississippi, of all places. But this man decided to break his silence. He decided to be strong, be brave. He wanted to come in, show everybody what's up. So he's going to tell his story. And on October 11th, 1973, Calvin Parker Jr. and Charles Hickson, they reported being abducted by aliens in Mississippi. Alright, like I said, it was 1973. And Parker said, we'd gone fishing. Him and his buddy grabbed their fishing poles, man. They went out, they were going to catch something. So they decided to go to this old abandoned shipyard because, you know, nothing creepy's ever happened at an old abandoned shipyard. It had a little pier, and on that pier, it was about 6 o'clock in the evening, starting to get dark, and there was a nice, kind of bright moon. Alright, Parker said he noticed blue light reflecting off the water, and his initial thought was law enforcement officers. They were probably doing something bad. If that's your first thought, law enforcement officers, because you're seeing some blue light reflecting off the water, your ass is in trouble. Alright, but he saw these, and he thought the officers had arrived to tell the two fishermen they needed to leave the property. However, when Parker looked up, he realized the light was coming from a craft nothing like he'd ever seen before. Alright, a big light came out of the clouds, Parker said. It was a blinding light. It was hard to tell with the light so bright, but it looked like it was shaped like a football. I'd say, just estimating, it was about 80 foot. Made very little sound, and kind of a hissing noise. Right? Run, it's a po-po. In a football flying machine. Wonder how many bush lights these guys had that night. Alright, but then, this situation, it became more surreal. Parker said 3 legless creatures just floated. Alright? 3 legless creatures floated from the craft. One had no neck. One with gray, wrinkled skin. Another had a neck, but it appeared more feminine. Parker described their hands as being shaped like mittens or crab claws. So, okay. Floating, gray skin, crab claws. My first instinct, push your buddy down, run. Alright, just run. You don't need to figure out what it is. Push your buddy down, get a new friend, run. He had a good life. It was a long run. Find new friends. Alright. But he said when one of these creatures put one of its claws around his arm, God, that would give me the chills. Claw hand, just pinching arms. Alright. He said he was terrified, as he should be, but then he said another feeling came over his body. I think they injected us with something to calm us down, Parker said. I was kinda numb, and I just went along with the program. Parker said the creatures floated he and Hickson into the craft and performed physical examinations on the two. Then they were taken back to the bank of the river. Parker said he didn't want to tell anyone what happened, but Hickson convinced him otherwise. The two contacted Kessler Air Force Base, but they were told they should call local authorities. So they contacted the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. According to Parker, the two passed sobriety tests as well as polygraph tests. Parker said he also passed a voice stress test. The news spread worldwide, and according to the news reports, Hickson didn't shy away from the attention. Parker, on the other hand, didn't want it, and especially in the years that followed. He said he had to change jobs, he relocated to other towns, and when people realized who he was, it was just something he didn't want to discuss. We can kind of tell out of this story which one of the two got probed. Alright. We can kind of piece that together. So yeah, he just didn't want to talk about it. Said he had very few friends, but his true friends, they never asked him about it, never had him talk about it. His family never talks about it. And after decades largely not discussing the event, Parker began to change his mind after attending a funeral. He said, I signed the registry at the funeral and people recognized the name, Parker said. Out of the respect for the family, I just left. My wife told me on the way home, you need to write about it. So he eventually did. He said, I felt like everyone deserved an explanation. Parker said, everyone has an expiration date and I wanted to get this out there before I die. I've had some near-death experiences and I'm in bad health and I just wanted to do it. I catch myself going fishing at night, looking up and wondering where they came from, how far did they travel, and why they had to get me. So, people might think this is a money grab, which, I don't know, I kind of believe it's a true account that he got attacked by crab people aliens. But, if you want to find out more, man, you can always buy Parker's book on Amazon.com for $26.50. So he wrote a book. He's selling it. $26. About getting abducted by crab people. I'm saying I don't know how I feel about this one. It's kind of weird and wonky. All right. So yeah, that's the story. The guy got abducted by crab people hands. This guy right here is an absolute legend. He's a beast. If you ever head to Spain, there's a certain time of year you want to go, and you're going to catch this sumbitch right here running and jumping over babies. Alright. The Colacho story. And it's not even a story, but it's an event. It's a festival. It's a festival jumping over babies. The weirdest damn thing. Alright. See, although there's no record of when the first one occurred, local historians believe that this has actually been taking place ever since the 1600s. So, since the 1600s, they've been doing a week-long celebration jumping babies. Alright? And it's a week-long festival. At the end of it, that's when they actually do this, but like I said, the high point of this festival is on the final Sunday when the guy who kind of dresses like the devil, he dresses like the devil wearing a colorful outfit and mask, he'll run through the town with a whip to terrorize locals who launch insults at him in return. And this is just a warm-up for the main event, baby jumping. When the time comes, all babies born within the year in the town are presented on a mattress on the floor outside their house. And in some cases, babies have been known to be just a few weeks, even days old. Then comes a moment when everybody's waiting for. The man who's representing the devil himself in the bright outfit runs, jumps over the infants and onlookers as they cheer him on. This unusual act is said to cleanse the newborns of their original sin. These days, it's also considered an important cultural festivity which belongs to the local heritage of the town. After the devil has jumped over the babies, they're showered in rose petals and often blessed by the local priest before being collected by their parents. So if you didn't know that was a thing, that is absolutely a thing. Like I said, this was reported on by the Culture Trip by Tara Jessup. Uh, Yo, what's up, G-Bear Man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Once again, you guys are new. Welcome to the stream, Urban Legends. It's a Saturday show I do every Saturday. And this, if you're seeing it on YouTube, pop in one day, join chat. If you guys are on Twitch, Mixer, how you guys doing? And you ever in Spain, go to the Baby Jumping Festival. Apparently it cleans their sins. And this dude whips onlookers as they shout insults. This next one, though, this is going to be creepy. Maybe not. Creepy little flying humanoids. Alright, Brent Swatzer, he wrote an article about this on Mysterious Universe. And on September 11th, 1880, a strange flying humanoid was seen over Coney Island. Alright, which seems to have been perhaps using a flying contraption of some sort. The original news article was the New York Times. And it said, "One day last week, a marvelous apparition was seen near Coney Island. At the height of at least 1,000 feet in the air, a strange object was in the act of flying towards the New Jersey coast. It was apparently a man in bat wings and improved frog legs." Okay, you're wearing bat wings and frog legs? That's either like some weird cartoony drunk? Well, I don't know. I'm not weird frog leg, bat wing people flying. Alright, the face of this man could be distinctly seen, and he wore a cruel and determined expression. Yeah, he did, because he's in the 1800s flying. He's probably scared shitless. Alright, the movements made by the object closely resembled those of a frog in the act of swimming with its hind legs. Alright, they said the man had a cruel and determined expression because he was flying in the goddamn air. Alright, and when we add that this monster waved his wings in answer to the whistle of a locomotive and was of a deep black color, the alarming nature of the apparition can be imagined. The object was seen by many reputable persons, and they all agree that it was a man engaged in a flying toward New Jersey. So, in the 1800s, apparently there was a guy dressed like some crazy crackhead superhero flying through the air. Not really buying it. I don't know what they were drinking on the beaches, but they had another encounter in 1948. The years after World War II, there were some strange encounters with what seems to have been a person or people in some sort of flying mechanized suit. Person or people? Okay, so there was one? Or there was many of them in a mechanized flying suit. Alright, so in early January of 1948, a 61-year-old witness named Bernice claimed that she had been out in the yard of her home in Washington at about 3 p.m. when some neighborhood children began looking up at the sky and chattering away about Flying Man. It was at this point that she allegedly heard an odd noise from above that sounded like a sizzling and whizzing. And when she looked up, she could see something very odd indeed hovering over a nearby barn about 20 feet in the air. The witness insisted that what she saw looked like a man wearing a pair of long silver wings fastened to his shoulders with some sort of strap, which he seemed to control with some sort of high-tech panel attached to his chest. The mysterious man with his bizarre flying suit apparently performed some aerial acrobatics, ascending into the air, and he flew off into the distance in an upright posture. The whole sight was seen by several other witnesses, all of whom were dumbfounded. Was this some sort of flying gadget crafted by a mad genius, or something otherworldly? Later that same year, in April of 1948, the mysterious figure was reportedly seen again, this time in the same general vicinity. At this time, he was apparently with friends. The two witness laundry workers, Viola and James, claimed that they saw the three men in flying suits making circles over the city at a height of about 250 feet. Johnson would say of the spectacle, They looked like 3 men in flying suits flying through the air. They wore dark drab flying suits, and as far as I can judge, and I'm not very good at judging, they were about 250 feet high, circling the city. They were going at about the same speed as a freight train, and had some kind of apparatus attached to their sides, which looked like guns. But I know it couldn't have been guns. I couldn't see any propellers of any motors or anything. But he could hear the motors, which sounded like airplane motors, just not as loud. When they first came into sight, I thought they looked like seagulls. How the hell are you gonna confuse people for seagull? I don't know. I don't know, Druce. I don't know. So, look like guns, but couldn't be guns. He's not good at judging distance. 250 feet. Maybe it's a bird. Nah, it's probably a person. So you don't even know what the hell it is. But he did say as they did get closer, he could see plainly that they were men. Said I couldn't make out their arms, but I could see their feet dangling down, and they kept moving their heads like they were looking around. I couldn't tell if they had goggles on their heads, but they did look like they had helmets on. I couldn't see their faces. The two frightened witnesses' stories was somewhat corroborated when several local people later recalled hearing strange sounds in the sky at around the same time. Who were these flying men, and where did they get those amazing suits? That's what I'm kind of wondering. Amazing flying suits. Were these some eccentric inventors who had come up with a new way of flight? If so, whatever happened to this incredible invention? Or could it have all been a hoax or a tall tale, or a lot of people just drinking back in the day? I always love stories from right around the 1950s, though. You guys know that. They're just so batshit crazy and awesome, with flying men in silver suits. But from the 1800s, that one would kind of freak you out, but they're trying to compare it to things that they know from their time era. It sounded like a locomotive. Maybe it was a locomotive. Maybe it wasn't a locomotive. Who the hell knows? You'll have to look on Amazon later, right? What, get the guy's crazy crab alien attack book? I mean, you could. Uh-oh. Oh, next one has to do with ghosts. I know you guys are absolutely terrified by ghosts. And rightfully so. They're just absolutely creepy. I think everyone in here is slowly just creeped out by the ghosts. You think the last story was hot air balloons off in the distance? You know what? The guy thought it was a goddamn seagull at first. Yeah. I've never confused a bird with a person. Ever. Yeah. But that, hey, you know what? It was different times. Different times, different era. Who knows? But our next story, like I said, has to do with like these creepy little ghosts. Alright? And let me tell you, this story is HuffPost by Sebastian Murdoch, and it was on a bunch of different sites also. Amazing little story. Alright, there was an unemployed British man from Portsmouth. Portsmouth? It's Portsmouth. Alright, this dude was arrested April 29th and later fined. Alright? You'll never guess why this man was actually arrested, why he was fined. It could have been a crane. Yeah, it could have been a crane. Never know. Those things are kind of big and crazy. Alright. But this guy, this unemployed British man, he got arrested. And he got arrested because while a nearby family was paying their respects to a lost loved one at the Kingston Cemetery, a drunk 24-year-old Anthony Stollard was throwing himself backwards, waving his arms around, going, "Woo!" while nearby families were just trying to pay their respects. And you know what? He got arrested. I don't know why he did it, but beer was involved. He was pretending to be a ghost in a cemetery to try and scare a family that was not pretending. They were there. They were actually trying to pay some respects. This guy, he didn't make a very good ghost. All right. Not a very good ghost at all. So I don't advise anybody go out there and try and pretend to be a ghost. Um, it's frowned upon, and you might get fined, like that gentleman. Next story I got for you, Drews. This one right here. It's the creepiest island I would never want to be on in the history of like never ever. All right, this is on so many different websites, but I decided to go with Wikipedia and Curiosity.com with the article written by Ruben Westmus. All right, and if you ever go to South Mexico City, there's an island of dolls located in the channels. I don't. Yeah, you know what? Going back to that story, I'm surprised it was a finable offense too. Disturbing the peace, maybe, because he was drunk. So I could see that disturbing the peace, get a fine. I'm not quite sure how different UK laws are versus like America, but I'm sure they're pretty similar on certain things. Should be. All right, like I said, this next one, this is going to be the Island of the Dolls. There was a gentleman named Don Julian, and this guy left his wife and family sometime in the mid 20th century, and he decided to sequester himself on an island. His reasons for doing so are hazy at best, but it soon became clear that Santa Barbara was not necessarily a man of sound mind. Not long after relocating, he made a chilling discovery on the shores of his island. A body of a young girl drowned in the lake. Which, I think that would terrify anybody to find anybody. But this guy found a body of a dead young girl in the lake. And shortly after, a doll came floating down the canals. This definitely changed the course of Santana's life. And you know what? It also changed the shape of the island for years to come. This man began to experience inexplicable situations, and they also started really becoming terrified. He said the soul of the young woman would cry out, "I want my doll." So the doll he found floating after the girl, assuming it belonged to the deceased, was hung from a tree as a sign of respect. After this, he began to hear whispers, footsteps, and anguished wails in the darkness, even though his hut, hidden deep inside the woods, was miles away from civilization. Driven by fear, he spent the next 50 years hanging more and more dolls. Some he'd hang whole, others various states of disrepair, headless, torsoless, taken apart in other ways. He'd hang these all over the island in an attempt to appease what he believed to be the drowned girl's ghost. In 1987, an ecotourist rescue was made and the island was found covered with water lily. After the gentleman's death in 2001, it's been reported that his body was found in the exact same spot where he found the girl's body 50 years before. That's kind of what goes around, comes around. Creepy kids, dolls. You should have moved. You should have moved. I would have moved. I would have noped right on out of there. Creepy Doll Island, not for me. That is not something I'd be down with. At all. What are your guys' thoughts on Creepy Doll Island? Like I said, me, I know so many different shows, like Josh Gates, I think he did one. So if you're not familiar with this story, definitely look into it. It's creepy as hell. But it is a good story. Just, it's on an island I would never go to, ever. Ever. Boom. Alright. This next one's on Mr. Stone Williams from Audi. He went ahead and reported it, and you're probably asking yourself, Kel, Why is there a bunch of toilet paper? And I'm going to answer that for you. I'm going to answer that here in a minute. Oh my god, dolls are creepy. Like, Drews, I'm telling you. Like, you got, like, Annabelle, like Raggedy Ann doll. I will punt it. Chucky, you come at me, I'm punting you. I am not handling creepy dolls. Nope. That ain't happening. Alright, so let you guys know, with the coronavirus spreading, there's a panic that, especially overseas, that there's going to be a lack of supplies. Whenever there's a lack of supplies, what do people do? Like, if you're me, like, from the Midwest, whenever people on the news see that there's going to be, like, a huge snowstorm, they're running to the store, they're buying everything. They're buying, like, 2 gallons of milk. They're acting like they're going to get snowed in for months, not just a day. Ain't never been snowed in more than a day. These dudes, you go to the store, and like I said, man, they're acting like they're prepping. They are buying for the apocalypse, stocking up on everything. Like, I don't know if it's like that in your guys' hometowns, but when you hear like the weather's gonna turn bad, it gets weird. So I can understand this, that people really afraid of going outside because of the coronavirus. They're stocking up so they don't have to leave, and I get it. All right, but because of this, 2 masked thieves stole over $100 worth of toilet paper rolls. I don't know how much a couple $100 worth of, was that, like 4 of these packages? That can't be that many. You'd think it'd be a lot, but I don't know. Wife buys the toilet paper for the house. Alright. But apparently, this group of 3 masked men approached a delivery driver around 6 a.m. outside of a Welcome supermarket in Mongkok District, Hong Kong. One of them was holding a knife. They stole more than 600 rolls of toilet paper. There we go. That is a ton of 600 rolls of goddamn toilet paper. I was wondering how much it was. It said over $100, but 600 rolls of toilet paper these 3 men stole, which is estimated about 130 US dollars. Was it like single ply? All right. The police were able to arrest 2 of these men, though, and they also recovered the toilet paper. But unfortunately, the police are still looking for that 3rd man. And like I said, authorities have tried to quiet fears over the lack of supplies in the city. They've definitely urged residents not to buy supplies in bulk. The supermarket where the robbery occurred denounced what they called the senseless toilet paper heist, assuring residents that temporary shortages were caused by people overbuying. They want to emphasize that they have a sufficient amount of toilet paper to meet the demand. That's nice. So nice. So yeah, like 600 rolls of toilet paper. What are these, like 24 or 48 rolls a package? So, okay. There's 3 of them. They poop a lot, maybe. I don't know. I've never truly been one to try and judge people. But, you know, you got toilet paper thieves. Alright, this one right here, Nick Redfern from Serious Universe. He's gonna take you for a roller coaster ride. Alright. So you might wanna sit down, grab some drink. He ain't really take you for a roller coaster ride, but this is an awesome little story. I get a kick out of these. Because, you know, they're so believable. Alright. It was a dark night, October 25th, when all hell broke loose in the heart of the country, or heart of the county. The primary player in the story, he was a gentleman named Steve Palmer. This man was both amazed and frightened to see a brightly illuminated UFO hovering over a local farm at about 9 p.m. But that wasn't all that Palmer encountered. A pair of immense ape-like creatures with very long and muscular arms surfaced out of the shadows of a dark field and proceeded to walk right towards him. He wasted no time and blasted them with his bullets. See a Bigfoot, shoot a Bigfoot. Nah, you see a Bigfoot, be its friend. Run, I don't know. But this man, he saw like two things that look like Bigfoot, he shoots at them. Alright. He said it was very weird because the bullets appeared to have had no effect at all on either creature. Well, that you missed. That's all that is. You shot at them, you missed. But he did say they retreated into the darkness, and the UFO did likewise, vanishing in an instant. And he said, you know what, that wasn't the end of the affair, however. At approximately 4 hours later, things took on an even stranger and far more terrifying... like, I don't know. Far more terrifying, huh? You shot a Bigfoot, you saw a UFO, you did it, man. You lived your best life. But you're going to tell me that it's going to be stranger and more terrifying? Alright, I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take it in. I'm gonna be open-minded. Alright? But he said it was roughly 1 a.m., and this is when Stan Gordon arrived on the scene. Having been alerted to the Palmer encounter by a local police officer, the one who has been apprised of the facts, along with Gordon, where a fellow investigator, Dennis Smeltzer, Fred Pitt, David Smith, and George Lutz, these dudes all met with Palmer. And Palmer proceeded to tell them of his unearthly encounter with the two Bigfoot and the UFO. Then, quite out of the blue, something horrifying occurred. Palmer's breathing changed to the extent that he was literally panting heavily and deeply. He broke into a deep growl and knocked both his own father and Lutz to the floor. They were in the middle of a field, mind you. Just knocked their asses down. I don't know what's going on with this dude. My first thought is like he's turned into a werewolf. Maybe he isn't. Alright, but maybe that's only, they're saying that's only the start of weird things. Man, mother, you've had weird things happening this whole time. You started breathing heavy and growling and knocking people to the ground. Alright, but keep in mind now, Pitt found himself unable to breathe properly. Now Smeltzer, he felt faint, and Palmer, he fell to the ground, having apparently passed out. So something's happened to all these dudes. But they did say a powerful, rotten odor of brimstone suddenly dominated the cold night air. The terrified group knew that it was vital that they get out of the field and quickly before things get even worse. Later, when Palmer regained consciousness, he told Gordon and his team that while in the passed out state, he had seen before him a sickle-carrying dark-robed figure that warned him the human race was on the verge of destroying itself, and would do exactly that unless it curbed its violent instincts. Even stranger than that, a couple weeks later, Palmer was visited at his home by two Air Force officers. One uniform and the other in plain clothes, it became very clear and very quickly that the pair knew all about Palmer's weird encounter and the later experience. They even confided in him that they knew that both the UFO and the Sasquatches were genuine. There were specific reasons for the visit. First, they showed Palmer a number of photos of Bigfoot creatures and wanted to know if the beast he encountered resembled them. Second, they asked if Palmer would be willing to be placed in a hypnotic state to ensure that the military secured all relevant data. Palmer agreed and With all the information in hand, the two men got up, thanked Palmer, and left. Despite telling Palmer that they'd keep him informed of any future developments, they failed to do so, and he never saw them again. So what kind of, potato aim, batshit crazy nonsense is this guy seeing? Kind of wondering what went on in the field. Bunch of dudes go onto the field, start breathing hard. Blame it on Sasquatch. I think they left out part of the story. And I always love it when you get a batshit crazy story. At the very end, you're almost guaranteed to read some line, some form of text at the very end of whatever batshit crazy story that says, an Air Force officer came and he talked to me. They always got to throw that in there. Someone from the military showed up at my house. No, they didn't. I love how the crazier the story, the more you're going to see that at the very end of it. Like, that's one thing I've noticed. And absolutely, I get a kick out of it. I need to, like, when I look at stories, I need to go to the very end. Okay, did the military show up? Oh, they did? Oh, this is going to be crazy. Brokeback Mountain Bigfoot Edition. That's kind of what I'm thinking happened out in that field. They had to come up with a story why they were all sweaty. Because I don't think cops was on air back then. So they couldn't have went with that story. So now we're gonna go back around here to the very first one. This lady here. Alright. If you viewers are never not feeling like you're just woman enough, you need to look up to this lady. Alright. I cannot pronounce her name. I'm gonna try it. But it's Julie D. Aubigny. But I'm just gonna call her Julie because that last name didn't sound right. You look it up. Just look up Julie the Badass. Alright. Because that's what she is. A hardcore, 100% certified badass. Who's wearing a little bit of heels in the picture. Alright. But this article I found on rejectedprincesses.com. Great website. You want to go read some crazy articles. This one here, I love how they kind of put it together. Because it really kind of it covers the facts of this lady being just badass. That's all I can say about her. Alright, so Julie, she was a sword-slinging, opera-singing, larger-than-life, bisexual celebrity of the 17th century France. Her life was a whirlwind of duel, seduction, grave robbing, and covenant burning so intense that she had to be pardoned by the King of France twice. Alright. This lady Julie, man, she earned her living through singing and dueling demonstrations. She usually dressed as a man, a fashion she kept with her for the rest of her life. She was already so skilled with the sword at this point in her life that she would quickly surpass like the lover she currently had, blew by him like with sword skills. She'd go in town to town. Audiences would not believe that she was actually a woman. In fact, one drunken onlooker proclaimed loudly that she was actually a man because she was so goddamn good with the sword. So, her being her, like just Julie Badass, she tore off her shirt, providing him ample evidence of her boobs. This heckler had no comeback. So she did like here's my tits, I'm a woman. He just thought it was a man because she was so goddamn good with the sword. Alright, so Julie, though, Julie had one overriding flaw. It was an allergy to boredom. I think we can all relate to that. Maybe not to her level. This young lady, man, she did not like boredom. In fact, she soon dumped the man she was wandering with and pronounced herself tired of men in general. This girl seduced a local merchant's daughter. The merchant, desperate to separate the two, sent his daughter to a covenant. A coven. But again, this lady found a loophole. Alright? She went ahead and joined the covenant. She became a nun to continue banging this girl. And that's exactly what she did, man. She started hooking up with her in the intended house of God. Shortly into their stay, an elderly nun died on related issues. And Julie reacted the same way anyone might. By disinterring the body, putting it in her lover's room. So, the old lady nun died. She stole the goddamn body and put it in her lover's room to fuck with her. Like, no. I'm telling you, this lady, man. Not only did she do that, she went ahead and she burnt the whole place down too. I should probably add that. So, yeah. Alright. After she burnt the place down, the two ran off in the confusion. And after about 3 months, Julie got bored of her. So she went ahead and dropped her ass back off at her parents' house and ran off into the night. Just, okay. I joined, became a nun so I could continue banging you. I'm tired of you. Burn the place down. I drop you back off of your parents. I'm bored. But this bout of shenanigans caused Julie to be sentenced to death. God, that's kind of a... okay. But, her dad's boss had good influences with King Louis, so he went ahead and revoked her sentence. She took advantage of her new lease on life by running off to Paris and joining the opera. Keep in mind, this was all before she was 20. Okay? Her behavior amped up even more when she became an opera singer. Basically, the rock stars of the day. I'm not going to tell her she had issues. I would never tell this girl she had issues. But in true theater major fashion, she fucked and fought her way through her stage contemporaries, and audiences loved her for it. Alright. There's another opera singer named Domino, and started to talk shit about a number of women, including Julie. So she responded by ambushing him, pushing a sword in his face, demanding a duel. When he refused on the grounds that he was a bit of a wimp, she whooped his ass with a cane, stealing his snuff box and watch. The next day, she caught him complaining that he had been assaulted by a gang of thieves. She called him a liar and a coward, and threw his watch and snuff box at him and declared that she alone had architected his ass beating. On another night, while out carousing on the town, a particularly ardent man named Albert began crudely hitting on her. She had just finished singing for the crowd, and he let loose with the one-liner, "I've listened to your chirping, but now tell me about your plumage," which is a come-on, which is basically, does the carpet match the drapes? She was a bit unimpressed. In short order, she got into a fight with him and his two buddies, and won. She went ahead and ran her sword clean through his shoulder. She felt a bit bad about that, though, so she went ahead and visited the impaled victim in the hospital and decided to go ahead and hook up with him anyways. Although their relationship only lasted a short while, apparently they were lifelong friends. All right. She would often attend royal balls thrown by King Louis or his brother, dressed as a man. She spent most of the evening courting young women, which earned her the ire of 3 woman suitors. When Julie pushed things too far and kissed the young lady in full view of everyone, the three the 3 dudes of these ladies challenged her to a duel, and she fought all of them and won right outside the royal palace. According to some accounts, she actually killed them. This entertained King Louis so much that he pardoned her from any punishment. So I just want to recap here. She joined a covenant to sleep with a nun, was an expert duelist who apparently, and I didn't say it in this article, but she would belittle men so much and try and steal their women that she challenged 10 of them to a duel and killed them. All right. This lady Julie, man, she was a badass. She apparently died young though, probably like mid-40s. So that is the story of, I'm just gonna call her Julie the Badass. So yeah, that's my urban legends. I hope you guys liked them. I do this every Saturday. If you guys ever got ideas of what you may or may not want, pop in Discord. Leave me a message. Let me know what kind of stories you want to hear. I try and keep them to about an hour, give or take. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I can't wait to see everybody next week. You guys have an absolutely fantastic Saturday. Take care.